Hi guys, I'm Melissa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a book haul. Alright you guys, I have a confession to make. I'm a book addict. Yeah, corny, I know. But beside me here, I have a pretty tall stack of books to unhaul, or to haul for you today. So these books are all the books that I have gotten probably February, March, and last month, along with 3 editions that I purchased today. But I mean, you guys, this goes all the way down to the floor and all the way up there. So let's see how many books we got. 25 books and 4 graphic novels. Now in here I have some book of the month, got a couple graphic novels, and we also have a couple books from book boxes. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into this. I'm not going to go into too much detail. Yeah, we'd be here a while. So, alright, first I'm going to go over the graphic novels that I picked up. And I can't wait to read some of these, but I'm saving them for Becca's Bookoplathon that's happening towards the end of this month. But the first one I got was Blackbird. I first saw this on G from Book Rose. She had read this and talked about it, and I read the reviews on Goodreads, and they really sounded good. I will confess, I have already read this book, and it was very, very good. I can tell you that I don't remember much about it other than she believes in magic. Nobody else in her world does, but she goes out in search of this magic and she finds it. It's set in urban California, I believe. Very good. The art in here is just phenomenal. I absolutely loved this. I mean, look at this. Ah, love it. Very good. I can't wait to continue with this series. It was very enjoyable. Next, I picked up the first and second volumes of Rat Queens. I recently saw Becca in the Books talking about this series, and I've been meaning to read it for a while. And it talks about rat queens. Who are they? They are death-dealing battle maidens for hire, and they're in the business of killing all the gods' creatures for profit. They're supposed to be pretty humorous and dark, and I can't wait to read these. Next, I picked up volume 4 of Monstrous. I have read up until this one, so I'd like to continue this. It's kind of like a futuristic world with some like steampunky vibes. I'm not really sure if I'm explaining this very well, but the art style in here is very good. Alright, so that's all the graphic novels. Now, I'm going to show you some books I've got in recent book boxes along with the books of the month. So let's do the books of the month first. Okay, so I've got 3 here. April is my birthday month, and because I'm a BFF, I got to pick an extra free book for April. So my first choice was, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to butcher this, Kaikai by Vaishnavi Patel. Oh, Lord, help me. I have no idea what this book is about, so let me read it for you. So begin Kaikai's story, the only daughter of the kingdom. She is raised on the tales of gods, how they churned the vast ocean to obtain the nectar of immortality, how they vanquish evil and ensure the land of Bharat prospers, and how they offer powerful boons to the worthy. Yet she watches as her father unceremoniously banishes her mother, listens as her own worth is reduced to the marriage alliance she can secure. And when she calls upon the gods for help, they never seem to hear. Desperate for independence, she turns to the texts she once read with her mother and discovers a magic that is hers alone. With it, she transforms herself from an overlooked princess into a warrior, diplomat, and most favored queen. But as the evil from her childhood stories threatens the cosmic order, the path she has forged clashes with the destiny the gods have chosen for her family. Now she must decide if resistance is worth the destruction it will wreak, and what legacy she intends to leave behind. The second book that I picked for April was called Like a Sister by Kelly Garrett, and I want to say that this is a thriller. No one bats an eye when a black reality TV star is found dead, except her estranged half-sister whose refusal to believe the official story leads her on a dangerous search for truth. So yeah, I'm going to say this is a mystery thriller. I've never read anything by Kelly Garrett. I don't read many mystery thrillers at all, but this one did sound a little interesting. For the month of May, my pick was none other than the fantasy pick, which is Darling Girl. From what I read of the synopsis, I'm really curious about this. So it is a Peter Pan retelling, but I want to say it's like a darker version of it. It says, Darling Girl brings all the magic of the classic Peter Pan story to the present while also exploring the dark underpinnings of fairy tales, grief, aging, sacrifice, motherhood, and just how far we will go to protect those we love. Very curious about this one. Alright, so I also have An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. This was the second book for the April Fairy Loot box. So it is a paperback. We've got some sprayed edges and I believe a digital signature on this one. This one I don't know anything about other than it's a bit of a love story. A spellbinding reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet filled with romance, magic, and Chinese mythology. Okay, so Romeo and Juliet, I show no interest in all that much, but now the Chinese mythology, I am curious about. Also, the book of the month for Fairy Loot in April was Blood Scion by Deborah Fale. This is what they deserve. They wanted me to be a monster. I will be the worst monster they ever created. Beautiful sprayed edges, and you guys, check this out. It's signed. There is some art on the dust jacket, but the hardback is printed. Look how pretty this is. I was going to skip on this release. I mean, it's interesting, but not overly interesting. I'm finding myself kind of getting away from the YA fantasy, but this edition really makes me want to read this book now. So, good on you, Fairy Loot, for reeling me in. Alright, the April book for Owl Crate is a book I've actually already read. I was part of the book tour for this, and it is Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor. I believe I gave this book a 3-star. It's more of a, kind of like a suspense mystery. We follow, I don't even remember her name, Janny, and she has a sister, Zosa. But they go into this magical hotel that never stays in one place. Every night it moves to a new location. Anybody that visits this hotel, once they leave, they don't remember anything about it other than they had a very good time, basically the time of their lives. So we follow her as she figures out that this hotel isn't as perfect as what everybody thinks it is, and that something very dark actually lurks under the surface. I did enjoy this. It read more kind of like a middle grade to me than a YA, but very good nonetheless, and this edition is stunning. I think the original one is more like purple. Ooh, look at these end papers. There's even foiled end papers. Let's see. What do we got? Ooh. Very pretty printed hardback. I like it. And we also have reverse art, or art on the dust jacket. Very nice. Very pretty. The final book I got here from a book box was in the Illumicrate box for April, and I'm confused. I'm confused. I thought Illumicrate only dealt really with fantasy. Maybe not. Maybe they do add some other ones, but this month I was a little disappointed because it just doesn't show anything to me that I would be remotely interested in this book. But it is Portrait of a Thief by Grace D. Lee. The back says, Will could hear the sirens. They sounded like a promise. This has something to do with Will Chen, who ends up trying to steal back Chinese sculptures. So basically it's him going and trying to steal these artifacts back. It's a very different looking book. It's bright yellow edges. It's cool. I like the looks of it, but I honestly don't know if I will read this or not. It just doesn't sound anything that I would be interested in. I'm not much of a heist kind of girl. Moving on. Alright, so next book I have here, I'm just going to show you. I'm not going to get into it. I've talked way more about this than probably any other book on the planet. That is The Hunger of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is the second of the Bloodsworn trilogy. This debuted in April. I did have an arc of it, but I did want to go and get a finished copy to put on my shelves. Another arc that I am going to keep, that is Unmasked. This is a true crime memoir following Paul Holes, who was one of the detectives who found the Golden State Killer through forensics. Very good. Highly recommend if you love true crime. Alright, moving on. Next book I have to show you is the Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. This is a fiction true crime kind of novel with some paranormal elements, which I was not expecting. I finished this book last night. 4 stars. Very, very creepy and atmospheric. I highly recommend. But you'll hear me talk more about this in a wrap-up, so I'll just set it aside for now. Another book I recently picked up that I have no idea what it is, but I've been seeing it all over Bookstagram, so I guess I can say Bookstagram made me do it. That is The Legacy of Ash by Matthew Ward. This technically isn't the one I've been seeing online. I think the second or third book just come out recently. But yeah, I will tell you one of the reasons why I decided to buy it is because it is blurbed by none other than John Gwynne, who says a hugely entertaining debut. So this is an epic tale of intrigue and revolution, soldiers and assassins, ancient magic, and the eternal clash of empires. Legacy of Ash is the first in an unmissable debut fantasy trilogy from a major new talent. So it looks like we're following 3 different people. It says as Tressia falls, heroes rise. We've got Victor Kadra, who is the Republic's champion. Josiri Trelon is Victor's sworn enemy. And Colleen Trelon, who is Josori's sister, seeks only to break free of their tarnished legacy to escape the expectations and prejudice that haunt the family home. Curious about this. It is a floppy chunker book. I love that. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Another one that is a total cover buy I know nothing about is 7 Blades in Black by Sam Sykes. This is the first in the Grave of Empires book. Or trilogy. I don't even know if this is a trilogy. I just know it's the first book in a series. Her magic was stolen. She was left for dead. Betrayed by those she trusts most and her magic ripped from her, Sal the Cacophony has nothing left but her name, her story, and the weapon she used to carve both. But she has a will stronger than magic and knows exactly where to go. The Scar is a land torn between powerful empires where rogue mages go to disappear, disgraced soldiers go to die, and Sal goes with a blade, a gun, and a list of 7 names. This almost kind of sounds like a, I'm going to kick myself because I can't think of what it's called. I'll put it up on the screen, but this sounds interesting. I'm really curious. This sounds like a vengeance tale. Next is one that I'm curious about simply because Brave is one of my favorite Disney movies. I love a redheaded heroine. So this is Bravely by Maggie Stiefvater. And it says, what if you had 1 year to save everything you love? The back says 1 princess, 2 gods, 3 voyages, 4 seasons. Curious to see what this is about. And I mean, this cover is so beautiful. I love it. Alright, next. This is the second book in the Of Blood and Bone series by John Gwynne. This one is A Time of Blood. I bought this mainly because now that I have read his Bloodsworn trilogy and liked both books, I'm curious to start the rest of his works. So I do have the first book of this one, so I did go ahead and get the second one. Same with this one here. I'm going to skip ahead. This is Valor, which is the second in the Faithful and the Fallen series to add to my collection. This one I've seen a couple different times, but Peru's Project here on YouTube talked about this book and how much she enjoyed it. This is a middle grade, the girl who circumnavigated fairyland in a ship of her own making. And this one follows September, who is a girl who longs for adventure. When she is invited to fairyland by a green wind and a leopard, well, of course she accepts, wouldn't you? But fairyland is in turmoil, and it will take one 12-year-old girl, a book-loving dragon, a strange and almost human boy named Saturday to vanquish an evil Marquess and restore order. Not since Oz has there been a land or a cast of characters so rich and entrancing. And it looks like there's at least 3 books in this series so far. That's what's on the back cover. So this is the, I believe this is the first book. God, I hope so. But yeah, this sounds really cute, and I look forward to getting to this one. The next one I have is the Pariah by Anthony Ryan. This is the first in the Covenant of Steel. This is a new release. I think it was March though. March or beginning of April. And this is a gritty, heart-pounding tale of betrayal and bloody vengeance. I loved every single word. Again, it's blurbed by John Gwynne. I'm just going to put it out there to all the publishers. If you have John Gwynne blurb your book, I'm probably going to read it. So yeah, there's that one. The next one is one I just got recently, and I've seen it around before. In fact, it was all over Bookstagram because the Bookish Box did a special edition of this duology, which I believe there's more than just 2 books in the series, but I believe the first 2 books are centered around the same characters and plotline. That is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle Jensen. I did read one other book by Danielle Jensen, I believe in March, which was The Tarnished Empire, which was a Roman kind of love story. This one follows Laura. She has only one thought for her husband on their wedding day. So I believe this is like an enemies to lovers. I don't know if she's forced, but there is a arranged marriage of sorts in which she is infiltrating this kingdom that has previously been unable to be defeated. So alliance is made for her to marry and to learn the secrets so she can go back and tell her father, and they can figure out how to finally conquer this unconquerable kingdom. Obviously, once she gets into her new home, complications arise. So yeah, I'm curious to see if this is as good as what she said. I know I trust her judgment on these books, and I believe she taught, you know what, it wasn't Peru's Projects. Allison? Oh Lord. I'll put her up here on the screen, but yeah, she is the one that talked me into reading this. Okay, might be a little bit of a different angle here. My battery died. Okay, so the next book I have is Kagan the Damned by Jonathan Mayberry. I do have an ARC of this on NetGalley. However, I wanted a physical copy because I just loved the colors on this cover. You know, so many times high fantasy novels, especially ones that are supposed to be grim and dark, are always black. So I just appreciated the colors on this. But this one says, sworn by oath, Kagan Vale is the trusted and feared captain of the Palace Guard, charged with protecting the royal children of the Silver Empire. But one night, Kagan is drugged and the entire imperial family is killed, leaving the empire in ruins. Hunted and broken, Kagan is abandoned by his gods and damned forever. He becomes a wanderer, trying to take down as many of his enemies as possible while plotting to assassinate the usurper, the deadly Witch King of Hakia. Meanwhile, all around him, magic, long banished from the world, returns in strange and terrifying ways. To exact his vengeance, Kagan must venture into strange lands, battle bizarre and terrifying creatures, and gather allies for a suicide mission into the heart of the Witch King's empire. It says, kings and gods will fear him, Kagan the Damned. I cannot wait to read this. This sounds so interesting. Alright, next I have this series of books by Joe Abercrombie. I've been looking for these everywhere, so when I was able to pick them up at my local Barnes & Noble, I picked all 3 up whether I liked them or not, so let's hope I like them. Alright, so the 3 by Joe Abercrombie. I don't know that these are all the same story. I think they're all just centered in the same world. I could be wrong, but the first one that came out was The Heroes. Then we have Best Served Cold and Red Country. I don't know what these are about other than they sound kind of like a western mixed with a fantasy. So yeah, I'm really curious, especially considering that one of them has a female on the cover with a sword. So I'm really curious to see how this comes out. So yeah, I've added those to my collection. Now today I picked up 3 books. And one I only picked up because it was 25% off. The first one I got was The Mask of Mirrors by M.A. Carrick. This has been on my radar for a while since it's come out last year. Yeah, it was last year, January of last year. Fortune favors the bold, magic favors the liars. I think this is a con artist story, and if you recall earlier in this video I said I don't like con stories or heists, and I don't. But every person that I enjoy their recommendations here on YouTube and even on Bookstagram, a lot of them have already read this series and really enjoyed it, so I wanted to give it a shot. Plus, I mean, these covers and even the spines on my shelves, love it. So I also picked up the second one, which came out this year, I believe, and it's The Liar's Knot, which is a continuation of this. This is called the Rook and Rose series, and I believe it is also a trilogy. The last one I got is none other than the recent release of The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. This one sounds so good. I know there's found families in here, neither here nor there, but long ago. Luli El Nazari is the Midnight Merchant, a criminal who, with the help of her Jinn bodyguard, hunts and sells illegal magic. When she saves the life of a cowardly prince, she draws the attention of his powerful father, the Sultan, who blackmails her into finding an ancient lamp that has the power to revive the barren land, at the cost of sacrificing all Jinn. With no choice but to obey or be executed, Luli journeys with the Sultan's oldest son and one of his infamous 40 thieves to find the artifact. Aided by her bodyguard, who has secrets of his own, they must survive ghoul attacks, outwit a vengeful Jinn queen, and confront a malicious killer from Luli's past. In a world where story is reality and illusion is truth, Luli will discover that everything, her enemy, her magic, even her own past, is not what it seems. Now she must decide who she will become. That sounds like a very, very good book. Ooh, check this out. So, like a short story within a story? That looks interesting. I wonder if there's more of those, or if that's just a one-time. Oh no, there's more pages like that. Yeah, there's another one that goes on for a couple pages. Ooh, that makes me even more excited to get to this one. Alright, so that is all the books, as if that wasn't enough. I hope you enjoyed my book haul. I'm really not sure, this felt really chaotic, but we'll see. Give this a thumbs up if you liked it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and if you did, were they some of your favorites? What'd you think of them? Yeah, tell me all the things in the description box below. But that is it for today. Now I've got to figure out a place to find find a home for all these, which I've got a problem, y'all, because I'm running out of room. So I think I'm going to be starting a series of unhaul videos. I'm going to do some like one chapter reads for some of the books that I have on my shelf that have been there for quite a while that I haven't picked up yet, so that we can prep to empty my shelves a little bit to find some room for these new books. So, alrighty guys, I will see you in the next video. Bye!